What's going on, everybody? John Eric Pauli here with My MMA News, and today's guest just defeated Sydney Smith by unanimous decision at iKON FC3. Now 1-0 as a pro. I am pleased today to be joined by Lydia Warren. Lydia, thanks for being here. Really appreciate the time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with everything, right? 1-0 now as a pro. It has to be a great feeling. Obviously, the fight's just a few days ago. What's the emotion been like since the fight that you're able to go out and get that first pro win under your belt?
Honestly, I when I got back here, it was just like normal life, you know what I mean? Like everyone was like congrats and whatever, but I went back to training and now I'm like just looking for the next one, I guess. But like as far as like the fight, like the emotion with the fight and everything goes, it felt like more of like something that I've been waiting for a long time. Like there was never really a question in my mind whether or not I was going to win the fight. It was just like a waiting thing, and it was like it just felt like this is what this was being delivered to me. You know what I'm saying? Like this is it. And then after that, it's been pretty normal.
Yeah, I understand. There, you're sitting around waiting, trying to get that first pro win there, and you finally everything kind of
Yeah.
came into fruition. It was all perfect there. And before we start breaking down this fight, I do want to ask you a little bit about the iKON promotion. Just first talk about how you chose to fight for iKON and got involved with their promotion in the first place.
So I'm managed by First Round, and they are. Sorry, I got a call. And they're basically like uninvolved with iKON and all that stuff. So I knew I was gonna fight for iKON for a while, because when I had it originally scheduled, it was like 2 years ago, and it was for iKON as well. But I ended up getting COVID like the week of, and so I didn't end up fighting. But I was pretty sure it was going to be for that organization anyways when it did happen. So it all just came together nicely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so obviously the management, right? First round also manages Jorge Masvidal, who runs iKON. So technically, Masvidal is your boss, which has to be pretty cool. I know we were talking before we came on air. You said he couldn't make the fight because of a hurricane issue and couldn't get the flight in, but you have spoken to him before. What's he been like as a boss in this promotion?
He's been great. He just told me the other day that I guess we were like the second highest rated show on UFC Fight Pass history. So that's pretty cool. Like a lot of people were tuned in to watch. But overall, really good. You know what I mean? They took care of me. That was probably the best I've ever been treated at any organization ever. Like I got to the airport, they picked me up. They were like, "We're here in this car." Da, da, da. Drove me back to the hotel. I stayed at the Marriott. They gave me a whole suite. It was pretty lit, to be honest. I felt great. I was like, "This is dope." You know what I mean? And the venue was right across the street. If I needed anything, they would drive me anywhere I needed to go. Like it was great. It was honestly great.
So it sounds like he's a pretty good boss there. And now, obviously, sounds like you have a lot of great things to say about him. I know a lot of fighters in your spot where you're 1-0 as a pro. You guys kind of bounce around to different promotions. There's a lot of different feeder systems into bigger promotions out there. Are you planning to stay with iKON then for a little bit and get a few pro fights under your belt with that promotion?
Yeah, I am. They already told me they want me back in August or September or both. We just got to find a girl for both of those, and I'm ready to go, you know?
So let's start breaking down this performance now here a little bit. Obviously, great performance. I think two judges had it 30-27 for you. Just go ahead and break down your performance and kind of how you thought the fight went.
Um, the first round was obviously like a 10-8 round. I took her down within like 10 seconds, and then she didn't get up the entire time. I did like a little bit of damage on the ground. Second round, I kind of chilled a little bit more because we hadn't really like struck together yet. So I was still like feeling it out. I still wanted to see like her habits, see what she does, da, da, da. But I might have chilled and had a little bit too much fun, because then like the second round, when I went back to the corner, my coach was like, "I still give you that round, but we are in our hometown. So you need to like maybe just turn it up in this last round, make sure it's like definite." And then the third round came, and that's when I took her down again, and then I ended up dropping her two on the feet. So I just kind of like spent the first round, I dominated. Second round, I kind of like filled her out, watched what she did, watched her habits and stuff. And the third round, I really turned it up, which was crazy because after I took her down, the ref like stood us up, which was like it was a really bad like stand up. I was like, what? Like I was still punching her and stuff, but it is what it is. Cause then I dropped her like shortly after that. So it ended up being like a cool part of the fight. But I was happy that it went like the distance, to be honest. Like everybody wants like a first round knockout and whatever, but I was happy it went the distance to get that out of the way. You know what I mean? Like it's always like oh, can I do this for 3 rounds? Like, am I going to be tired? And like, honestly, bro, I wasn't tired at all. Like I could have gone 3 more rounds after that. Like I was happy to be there. You know what I mean? I was just having the time of my life in there, to be honest. So yeah.
All right, so 2 things from that answer I want to touch on. The first one, we'll start with what you just ended with there. You were saying how you're kind of glad that you went the distance, get that out of the way. Do you think that's kind of like a mental thing for a lot of fighters where, you know, the first time they're getting into those later rounds and it is a big deal, like it is new territory. So do you feel like the fact that you got that out of the way, you've now proven to yourself that you could really dictate a fight kind of wherever it goes, that you know you have the stamina to keep going and keep pushing as the fight goes on?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had the stamina because I do rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds in the gym. You know what I mean? I do like so much work in the gym that like I know I have the cardio for it. But then like when you get under the light, sometimes you have like adrenaline dump and stuff like that. So you never know how you're going to react to that. So I was a little nervous about that. I was like, you know, am I going to have that adrenaline dump? Am I going to be able to like keep moving, keep doing this stuff? But I was so chill for this fight. Like I was very present. Like I wasn't freaking out at all. I didn't have a single adrenaline dump at all. Like I could have gone like all night, which makes me like feel great about it. Cause I'm like, cool. Like you were composed, you stayed calm. You did everything I do in the gym every day. Like I got to do that night. And I got to show everybody that I can wrestle too. Cause I feel like a lot of people think I'm a striker and whatever, but I got to wrestle. I got to do everything I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And it was honestly really good. Like a good time for me. I was having a blast.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about from that answer before, I thought was pretty cool. You said that after the second round, your corner straight up told you, like, hey, listen, it's a close round. We did score it for you, but listen, it's close. You're in her hometown. They could obviously have scored it the opposite direction. You need to go out. You need to get this last round. That, to me, obviously stands out because a lot of times we see in fights where corners will be like, hey, that's another great job, great 5 minutes, we're up. And then you go out the last round, maybe take the foot off the gas, ends up being a close round. All of a sudden the fight goes the other way, and it's, well, I don't know what happened. We had it 2-0, but I think it was pretty nice that your corner was blatantly obvious with you like that. How important is it to have a corner like that is blatantly obvious and doesn't spoon feed things to you and just kind of tells you how it is in the middle of a fight like that?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, my coach is Brandon Gibson. He's cornered over like 40 UFC fights. You know what I mean? He's John Jones's coach. Like he's been in there. He knows how to corner. He knows what to tell him. And like, I feel like even if I had genuinely, which I did win the second round, like I watched it, I won obviously, but still to tell the fighter, hey, that even if it's not a close round, still tell the fighter it might be a close round, might score it the other way, just so they'll pick it up in the last round. Why not? I could have blatantly beat her up like crazy, and he's still going to tell me the same thing because you can't chill in any of the rounds. You know what I mean? And the third one, especially, you got to make sure you make the statement. But that was, yeah, of course, it was great cornering on his part. He knows what he's doing. He's been there. He's done that, you know? So I'm grateful to have him in my corner for that.
And you had mentioned, right, he's trained John Jones before. They actually made a reference in your fight with the way you came in for some of the takedowns, a lot of those different like front kicks, oblique kicks. They made the John Jones reference there. So I'm not going to ask you about John Jones. I know there was kind of a lot of controversy there with what happened. He left the gym and whatnot. But I did want to ask you, though, about Jackson Wink because they've trained these guys like John Jones, like Holm, all these big-name fighters there. How have they helped you kind of grow and evolve as a fighter with all the experience they've had over the years of training these high-level guys?
Honestly, I thought it was hilarious that they compared me to John Jones because we do not look anything alike at all. And that was just like not who I would compare myself to fighting, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, we have the same exact striking coach. We have the same coaches. It's interesting because I've been at Jackson Wink pretty much the entirety of my MMA training, like total. So like I'm fully, like I didn't come in with any background. Like I'm fully like basically born and bred in Jackson Wink. So it's interesting to see like the styles and stuff. But I know what they're talking about. there's certain things that we do at Jackson's that like a lot of other gyms don't do. And like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like certain like strikes we throw, the way we'll grapple or wrestle or anything like that. Like it's a little bit different. You can see like trends and stuff. So it's interesting. But like when I rewatch it, I see why they said it. But like when I first heard it, I was like, I looked at Gibson and I was like, bro, they compared me to John. And he started laughing. But like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but it's just funny.
Now, explain to everybody, too, how you ended up at Jackson Wink, right? You were born and raised North Carolina. You did move to New Mexico. Just kind of explain the connection there of how you ended up at Jackson Wink.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I just kind of ended up, I was like, I want to be an MMA fighter now, like, I guess. And then I just like found, like, I went online, I applied, it came. And then they were like, she ain't gonna last like 2 weeks. And then I'm here 6 years later. But yeah, it was just kind of fate, just kind of destiny, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's all been obviously working out well for you here, and I do want to actually ask you a little more with Jackson Wink. I see a lot on your Instagram, right? You're pretty good friends with Holm, Arlene Blanco. I saw pictures with Clarissa Shields. I know we were talking before, right? They talk, a lot of high-level athletes that work out there, but there's also a lot of high-level women there. How have those women helped you grow and evolve too? Because obviously from doing these interviews for a few years now, it seems like a lot of female fighters will tell you, working out with guys is great and there are benefits to it, but there is nothing like getting those great rounds in the gym with other high-level women.
Yeah, honestly, I train with a lot of the little guys, but there is, there's a different pace between men and women and like how they fight and just their tempos and stuff are just a little bit different. So it's good to have like Michelle is probably one of my main like training partners. It's good to have her. Holly and I don't spar too often, but we'll wrestle and stuff. Which is good because if I can wrestle with girls way bigger and way more high level than I can, you know what I mean? When I get in a fight with somebody in my level, it's like easy. I mean, we saw, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been good, like training with those girls that have been there, done that. It teaches me that composure. It teaches me to be patient. It teaches me little things. And they always like help me out to be like, hey, do this, do this, do this. And honestly, like I've grown immensely from that.
And sticking with Holly for just 1 second here, I do want to ask you, I'm not sure if you saw this or not, I think it's this weekend actually, this Sunday she'll be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame, obviously a major accomplishment. I just want you to talk about Holly for a little bit. I know you mentioned how great of a training partner she is, but just talk a little bit about like what her friendship has meant to you and how she's kind of helped you with not only growing as a fighter, but just as a person as well, because she seems like the ultimate teammate. I think anybody would want Holly Holm in their corner.
She is. She's great. She's a beautiful person. Like just a very genuine, like good heart. And she deserves all of that and more. You know what I mean? She deserves like every recognition she gets, she deserves it, bro. That girl works hard. Like honestly, she works harder than anybody I've ever seen, like in out of camp. That's the thing. That's why she's 40 years old and still fighting, because she stays in shape. She's consistently training. You know what I mean? She doesn't let her body go back to whatever in between camps. Like she is always training and she just loves it. And it's a beautiful thing to watch because like, these are the people you want to emulate. These are the people you want to be like, you know what I mean? But as far as a person goes, she's diamond. She's gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know Holly Early is a nice person. I've got to interview her one time at International Fight Week a few years ago, right before Amanda Nunes fight, and she's awesome. She's as advertised, and I do want to, while we're talking with Holly, before we get back to you and your career for just 1 second, I just want to get your thoughts on her last fight. And a lot MMA Twitter was not happy with the judges' scorecards. I wasn't happy with the judges' scorecards. I feel so bad for Holly too. It seems like she's always like in these like controversial decisions and everything else. I mean, it just can't seem to get things to go her way. I just want to get your thoughts on her last fight and the whole controversy with it.
It just sucks because I feel like when a judge messes up like that, it's like you're not realizing like what this means, because that's what half her purse gone now, because you made a shitty decision, and then that's her whole livelihood. And when you're at that level, I mean, she was going to get the title shot right after that. You know what I'm saying? And now what are you going to do? Now you're going to have them rematch before she goes and gets her title shot, which is stupid just because you guys messed up. You know what I mean? Just because you can't do math. Now, like, she's got to go through all this other stuff to deal with you. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of sucks. I feel like they should give her the title shot anyways after that, but I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, and hopefully the judges start getting things right here. I know it's been a big topic for a number of years now.
Just pay attention. You have one job. You have one job. Just pay attention, bro.
Yeah, exactly. There really should be, I don't know whether it be a schooling for it. There needs to be something, though, to get done, because it's been happening way too much, especially over the last year or two. There's been a lot of real bad controversial decisions. Yeah. But anyway, I do want to get back to you here for a bit here. What is the next plan here? Obviously, you mentioned you're going to stay with iKON. I'm assuming the plan is to stay active, right? I think you alluded to it before. Right? They want you back August, September. So what's exactly the plan going forward here? Just to be as active as possible?
Yeah, just to be as active as possible, to be honest. I was inactive for like 2.5 years. And now at this point, now I'm ready. Like, let's go. We're like back to back to back. I'm in good shape. I'm not getting hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get hurt at all in my fight, so I can fight again in a few months and then again in a few months. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like, just stay as active as possible, I guess.
And then finally, to wrap things up here, I do want to ask anybody that will follow your Instagram, I'm sure we'll see there's a lot of professional photo shoots. Are you a model, or are they just professional photos that you get done? What's the story with those?
No, bro, I'm not a model at all. I guess some professionally done. Most of them I just take myself, to be honest.
No kidding. How do you,
but but yeah, I guess. No, bro, it's just my house. Some of them are done by Will Fox, and he does a great job. He shoots for Bellator and them, but yeah, a lot of them is just my iPhone, to be honest.
No kidding. Well, you're quite the photographer then. So anyway, I was just curious with those. Anyway, back to the fight game here for just a second before we exactly wrap things up here. One other thing I want to ask you about it with staying active. Obviously, I've seen this time and time again from fighters over the years. Some are better with it than others, but a lot of fighters are like, I'm going to stay active. I'm going to fight all these times in a year, and they try ramping up their training. They end up overdoing it and get hurt. What are some of the keys, I guess, to staying active and keeping your body fresh and ready to go so you could fight? Like you said, you want to fight back to back to back, hopefully get like 3 more in by the end of the year.
Just stay training. Like, I train all year round, all the time. Like, I was back in the gym on Monday. You know what I mean? So my body's used to that. My body knows, like, this is just what we do. If you don't want to get injured in training, just stay training. The people that get injured a lot in this game are like people that, they fight, they go through this super hard camp, then their whole camp's just them getting in shape for the fight. And then they fight, and then they get out of shape, and they don't train for 6 months. And they're like, why do I feel like shit? And it's like, because you are not training consistently. If your body knows that this is what we do, and we're just like this, we're active, we're constantly training, you're not going to get hurt as often because your body's used to it. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But the people that get hurt are the people that don't train consistently, I feel like.
Well, obviously you're back in the gym, and you'll be back inside the cage again probably pretty soon here, probably in the next 2-3 months. So obviously we'll stay in touch. We'll definitely do this again before one of your next fights here. Just to close this out, though, today, go ahead, plug your social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management, sponsors, coaches, teammates, whoever you got to give a shout out to, got a plug, floor is yours.
My Instagram's Lydia P. Warren. I feel like I already pretty much shouted out everyone during the interview. So yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Lydia, thanks so much again here for all the time here today. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll stay in touch. We'll have you on before your next fight here in the next 2-3 months. So anyway, appreciate the time. Appreciate everybody watching today's interview. If you liked it, make sure you go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And keep going to MyMMANews for all of our great content. Go to our social media pages. Give us a like and a follow on there as well. And if you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, I'm at John Eric Poli. We'll see you later, everybody.